Welcome to Scratch Hit Sports. Talking NFL football this week. Got Ryan Hilton here with me.
What up?
And so we're talking about playoffs in week one of the playoffs. Got the wildcard round. There's a couple crazy matchups, a couple nail biters, a nice comeback, and maybe a field goal that won everything that might take them into the next round. So what did you think about the first round of the playoffs?
The first round of the playoffs, it was pretty fun. I mean, we got some really good matchups. I mean, the 49ers-Packers matchup is classic. The Saints-Eagle game, that was the only thing, like I was saying to you before, kind of like rode under the bridge for me. Didn't pay too much attention to that one. We had an upset, I thought. Well, probably everyone thought, with the Colts and Chiefs. Chiefs losing that one. And then the Chargers-Bengals game. That's, some might say, an upset, but you picked the Chargers.
Yeah, I thought the Chargers. But, let's just go through those first games here. And, the Colts came back and beat the Chiefs 45-44.
That was a big game. Sitting around just listening to everything that happened in that game in general. Just luck. Having some luck in general.
Definitely having luck there. Coming back from a 28-point deficit, I believe it was.
Did that say anything about Alex Smith, though? I mean, how he turned everything around. He had some, aggression because he wanted to show everyone in Ninerland that he had something. I mean,
injuries did the Chiefs in. Jamal Charles was their MVP this year.
Best player gone.
Yeah, you lose your best player.
On the first drive.
It's hard to come back from that. I mean, I'm surprised they actually scored as many points as they did. I definitely didn't think that game would be in the 40s. I was thinking more of the 20s.
Okay, that division in general, the Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, all those teams, the Chargers, I don't really think any of those guys are defense. They just say score as many points as possible. But
the Chiefs' calling card this year was their defense for a while.
Yeah.
That was keeping them in games because they were only scoring 19, 20 points.
But it's 44-45.
Yeah. There was no
points.
defense in that game. Yeah. The next game, New Orleans and Philadelphia, that was a great game.
Those teams are what I think. Both of those teams together, the Saints and the Eagles, they're like the same team. They're like evenly matched. I feel like for instance, the Saints have a bunch of running backs in general. I just feel like they love running backs down there.
They never run the ball.
I know, right?
Well, they run the ball a little bit, but they don't actually use the run. They use the play action pass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they have Sproles, which I think is pretty comparable to McCoy. I mean, McCoy is much better in general, but that's kind of like the same kind of thing. And I don't know, they just
it comes down to having the best player, though.
Yeah.
And the best player won. Drew Brees was the best player.
Drew Brees is going to go down in history. Pretty good.
I mean, if Michael Vick was there and Michael Vick was playing up to where he was the first 2-3 weeks of the season, does that change the game?
Probably, but I don't know. He's just not the same person ever since.
Nick Foles was there. Nick Foles had a good season.
Yeah, that's true. Nick Foles is. He came out of nowhere too. It kills me.
He was a pretty high draft pick out of Arizona. He was up for Heisman considerations when he was there.
Still, but the whole mindset of that team, I thought, was Vic. And then the new coach comes in and just kind of pushes him out.
Chip Kelly wanted Vic because he wanted that running quick offense, but he got hurt, and then he went to the normal pro style West Coast offense with Nick Foles as a good pocket quarterback.
Nick Foles.
Man, even that Raiders game. I mean, this almost seems like forever ago, but he threw 7 touchdowns in a game.
That's pretty intense.
So I mean, and they tried to come back in that game too against New Orleans. They just couldn't do it.
How do you think this game and where they ended in general as a 3rd seed and made it to the playoffs? How did that?
Philadelphia. I mean, that division's kind of crappy.
Well, how about for Chip Kelly? I mean,
Chip Kelly, great first season. Yeah. I didn't think he'd go in the playoffs. That was a great first season. Next game though, San Diego and Cincinnati. So I mean, I thought San Diego would win, but only because I don't like Cincinnati, and I've seen San Diego put up good performances, and I was talking to some people about this before the game, saying San Diego is one of those teams. They put up a lot of points. They can beat you.
Yeah.
And they play well from ahead. And
they have good, I like how you said earlier, they're good every other game, every other day, every other year.
Yeah, every other year is a big one. And Phillip Rivers, every other year, is an elite quarterback. This year he's showing you that, he's pretty solid.
And, okay, so the Bengals went into this game not losing one single game at home. They hadn't lost one. So they got to be all sitting on their high tower and everything thinking, oh, we ain't going to get stomped around. We ain't going to get pushed around. But, this game was lost because of one big fumble, one big turnover. And that was Andy Dalton's head-first slide and losing the ball. After that, everything just fell apart for the Bengals.
I mean, you got to be aggressive in the playoffs. The ball fumbled the wrong way. They didn't come up on it, but I mean, losing at halftime and then to come back and just blank the other team, that's big.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. They ended the season with 11-5, but
yeah, Bengals just weren't ready to be in the playoffs, and the Chargers.
Is Andy Dalton ever going to be ready to be in the playoffs? He hasn't won one playoff game. Neither has their coach.
I just think it's a Bengals curse, man. When Carson Palmer was there, they had probably some of the best offenses, but their defenses were poor, and they couldn't get it together. And
at one moment, they had a whole sitcom about their two wide receivers.
Yeah, Terrell Owens. Yeah. So I mean that brings us to our last game of the week. What Bay Area fans are most excited about, West Coast fans probably in general, besides Seattle fans up there. Man, the Niners in Green Bay. Just tell me about what was going through your mind when Dawson is lined up to get that game-winning kick.
Oh my God, that was because I kept having to walk over to next door to watch the TV and then looking on my phone, just knowing that it all came down to that. So classic Niners in the last couple of years.
Oh yeah,
it comes down to a freaking.
Well, kick. I mean, bad in the sense for the Packers that they started the season against the Niners with a loss and they ended their season with a loss. But Niners and Packers just always have great matchups.
They always do. Going back to Steve Young playing against Brett Favre, in the stick, one of the greatest moments I think.
Yeah.
And just one thing that you got to understand is Kaepernick has never lost against the Packers. Never.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
Is that
Harbaugh picked his guy, and so far it's turned out pretty damn well. Get that Super Bowl win last year, and then you're riding perfect. But other than that, I mean, I would say Alex Smith, whatever, he led his Chiefs to a good season over there. People might not have seen that. I don't think I saw that. I definitely didn't see that actually. I thought Alex Smith was a pretty good quarterback, and he got the raw end of the deal.
He did,
but.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, well, I don't anymore. He's on a good team. He's on a team that put up almost the same record the Niners did. You know what I mean? They just lost in the first round.
Exactly.
They scored a lot more points too. They outscored every single other team in the first round except for the team they played.
That's very, very true. The 49ers also didn't have the most, how should you say this, best game they've ever played ever?
Well, it's negative degrees the whole game.
Yeah, that's true.
You wouldn't have played your best game either. I mean, the Packers didn't play their best game. But Aaron Rodgers still looked pretty good.
That's true. But another thing that probably hurt them was, too, the fact that Aaron Rodgers was gone for the past couple of weeks. He only played the last game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that hurts your consistency and your continuity. But... professionals, that's what they get paid for. They get paid to play in the big moments, and Aaron Rodgers has won a Super Bowl. He's been there. He's done that. He's really good. But,
there's no question about that.
It's just not the day for the team.
Not the day for the team, exactly.
But there was one moment in that game where I thought that the tides might have turned towards the Packers' way, and that was when Eddie Lacy truck-sticked, straight out of Madden, Dante Hittner-Whitner. Man, what were we thinking then? That was big.
See, the motions in that game, they just both went up and down the whole time, because I guess that's makes great games.
Yeah, it's great game. Yeah.
There was a lot of lead changes and just pushing until they finally get one field goal. Just seeing only 3 seconds left in that field goal kick, too, which is priceless.
That was money.
Yeah,
very much so. That was week one. And, so we were just talking Niners, so now, be Bay Area people that we are, we're going to go into talk about the, top Niners playoff moments.
Number 5, Alex Smith's touchdown run against the Saints.
Third and a long 7 just inside the New Orleans 28-yard line. Williams wide left, Crabtree slot left. Gore goes slot right. Empty backfield. Shotgun Smith. Saints bring extra man. Alex going to boot to his left and run. He's going to run at 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Do you believe it? What a play. The play of dreams. Alex Smith runs a bootleg left on a shotgun, and he runs it in for a touchdown.
Number 4, Vernon Davis's post route, the catch 3.
We, as broadcasters, try and pride ourselves on some level of detachment.
I know I stepped on Ted and his call, but I couldn't help it.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking, got it, post, and it's got him! Touchdown! Touchdown, 49! Vernon got jarred, held the ball, and delirium.
The entire stadium exploded at once. Perfect play. When I got up, all I could feel was tears running down my eyes. It was an epic play. that really was the end to an epic game.
Number 3, the catch 2. Steve Young, the TO.
But the clock is down to 8-9 seconds. That's all that's left in the game. It's all go, last play. As he goes back to throw the ball, he falls. I trip, and I came up and looked, and there's this big hole that shouldn't be there. So he throws the pass over the middle.
Owen! Caught it! He caught it! He caught it! He caught it! And he makes touchdown catch!
I just remember feeling like this is the greatest moment. He hangs onto the ball, breaks out in tears, goes over and hugs Steve Mariucci. It was as dramatic an ending as you will ever see in a football game.
Number 2, The Drive, 1989 Super Bowl against Cincinnati Bengals.
Montana to Rice. He's in the clear. And Ray Horton fought through a block. There was a blocker on him. Taylor downfield and made a touchdown-saving tackle. What a day for Rice.
It did not look like anyone would be able to stop Rice, but Horton made a brilliant play to get him down.
11 catches, 216 yards. Is there another one? This one's to Craig, and he's to the 10-yard line. And close to another first down, and San Francisco will spend its second timeout. They have one left, 39 seconds to go. Hofer to tie it, but the 49ers can win it. Rice has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana, touchdown, John Taylor.
And number 1, the catch. Joe Montana to Dwight Clark.
The upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3. We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. Dwight Clark.
It was as dramatic an ending as you will ever see in a football game.
I don't believe it. One of the greatest finishes in 49er history.
So those are our top 5 Niners moments we came up with. You know, the Niners had some pretty good wins there in the playoffs, and they got another really tough matchup coming up this weekend, Sunday matchup. So we'll hit them first because we were talking about them, but they're coming up against the Panthers, a team they lost to in the regular season. What are you taking from that game and bringing into this game, Ryan?
Well, going up against Superman, the Superman, I guess you could call him in the NFL, Cam Newton, it's always kind of tough. You always got to keep an eye on him, keep that spy out there. But the Niners D, I'm pretty sure they can hold it down. They only lost by 1 point, 10-9. I mean, they didn't even score a touchdown in it, the Niners. They only field goals, which is kind of upsetting. But they owe them something. Exactly what Colin Kaepernick said, by quote, he said, "We owe them something." They're going to get something from the Niners this week. And I hope so. And you know what? If it does happen, like you said before, those top 5 things that we brought up, the top 5 about 49er playoff moments, hopefully Colin Kaepernick can make one right here.
Yeah, that'd be pretty big if Colin Kaepernick could bump somebody out of that top 5 we put together and join the ranks of Steve Young and Joe Montana. So, let's look at the other playoff matchups we got going on this weekend. We got New Orleans and Seattle. That's in Seattle. That's a Saturday game. Who are you thinking in that one?
Man, as much as I hate the Seahawks, man, I don't know. Them in their home stadium is just kind of scary. Anyone going in there just has something to prove, but they just can't prove it. It's like a black hole up there. No pun intended from the Raiders or anything, but going into that stadium, it's just kind of scary. And the Saints, I don't think they have enough power, enough willpower. They don't have enough weapons to use against these guys. They have a good D, Seattle, and they have an offense that's just amazing. They're running on all cylinders, and not to mention Percy Harvin's about to be back for this game too.
All right, so it sounds like you think the Seahawks are going to win this one pretty handily.
Definitely they're going to.
But I said this earlier in the Saints against the Eagles game. The best player on the field usually wins. I still think Drew Brees is the best player in this game.
I'll agree with you that the best player in that game is definitely Drew Brees, but who's the second?
I still think Jimmy Graham. They have the best 2 players. I really like Marshawn Lynch, Cal guy. I'm pretty hot on Russell Wilson. He's been definitely improving. Their defense obviously is much better than the Saints' defense, but I don't know. I don't see anyone on that Seattle defense that can lock down Jimmy Graham.
The Saints, that's very true. But the Saints are one of those trickery teams. They're going to come out with some tricks, just like they always do from the Super Bowl.
5 wide, right out the box.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to be a good game. We like that one. Saturday, another game. Indianapolis and New England. No, Peyton Manning's not playing, but yes, Tom Brady is playing. A matchup of classic playoff matchup.
Very classic matchup.
But Andrew Luck instead of Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck, Tom Brady, new school, old school. Who you got? Who you like?
The Patriots, they're just a confusing team for me in general this whole season. I mean, you would think if you were the owner of the Patriots and you have Tom Brady, you'd put some pieces around him. I feel like they didn't put anything around him, and they're still what are they? The second seed in their division, or the second seed in the
12 wins on the season.
Yeah, they're 12-4. I mean,
you get a bye week.
I don't understand how they pull it out. And then again, the Colts coming over to the Colts side. The Colts in general are just kind of. I felt like they had everyone looking down upon them this whole season. Everyone just kind of like.
They're the giant killers this year, though. They beat the Seahawks. They beat the Niners. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Broncos.
But still, I just feel like no one is giving them enough credit for that in general. That's all that I feel like. That's all that's looked at. Just a couple of wins. But you know what? Tom Brady I'm gonna have to pick him. Tom Brady always just pulls it out somehow. All right. I mean, luck will have some luck, but you're going up against Tom Brady.
No Gronkowski. Patriots still roll. All right. Final game of the weekend. We got San Diego and Denver. I think this is going to be the best matchup of the weekend. Sorry, Niners, Carolina. Sorry, Indy, New England. Sorry, New Orleans, Seattle. San Diego and Denver. Divisional matchup in the divisional round. Come on. You got the Chargers coming out a great win over Cincinnati where they pretty much held their offense to nothing. And you got Denver coming off a bye. Denver had the best record in the NFL this year along with Seattle. They get the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're hosting the Chargers. Who do you like here? I like the Chargers.
I take all your points and I totally agree with you, but I cannot say no to Peyton Manning. I cannot say he's not going to do something amazing.
Best player on the field? Peyton Manning. I'm going against my own advice. Exactly. I like the Chargers. The hot streak has got to keep rolling.
Exactly. The Bolts are rolling right now, and they do this streaky stuff all the time. They'll just off and on every year, off and on every play, off and on every other game. And the Chargers will put up a good fight, but
And I'm looking at some stats right here, and this is pretty amazing. Broncos, first in points per game. Broncos, first in yards per game. Broncos, first in pass yards per game.
Jeez.
Okay, rushing yards, they're still 13th. Okay, let's go to the Chargers side. 17th in points per game, 4th in yards per game, 4th in pass yards per game, 21st in rush yards per game. So they're trailing the Broncos in everything. Still doesn't look good. I don't know why I like the Chargers in this matchup. I think it's just like Peyton Manning in the Broncos or Peyton Manning in, the Colts. There's just something about him when he gets into the playoffs. It just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. It happened that one year they won the Super Bowl with the Colts, but I just don't see it happening. There's like too many pieces. It's like those super teams that just don't work.
If the Chargers can find a way to actually put up good D, they probably have a chance. I mean, the Broncos, no D whatsoever. All they know how to do is score more points than the other team.
That's all they do is score. All right, so let's put a couple scores on these games. So let's start with the early morning Saturday game, and you got the Seattle and New Orleans. You said you like Seattle. What's your score? I like New Orleans, so I'll give my score after you.
All right, I'm going to say score will be 13-11.
13-11. Okay.
The Seahawks on top.
All right. So New Orleans is given 8 points in the spread, and the over/under is 46.5 on the game. Well, I know Seattle likes to, play defense and keep the other team down, and New Orleans likes to go out and score points. So I'm just gonna go out and say it: 30-17, New Orleans. Woo! All right. Not just barely reaching that over/under, and they're gonna flip the spread on. All right. Let's go. Indy and New England. Game's at New England. New England's favored by 7.5. The over/under's 53. Who do you got?
I'm going to take the Patriots. The score is going to be 21-7.
21-7 Patriots. I don't know if their defense is that good, but I like that same score, and I'm going to go 21-7 too. I like that.
I think Luck might be throwing some interceptions there. He's not ready to move.
He's not ready to walk into Foxborough and take down old Mr. Brady, Mr. Brady's neighborhood. All right, so we got the morning game on Sunday. It's the Niners and Panthers. Big matchup, 2-12-4 teams. Niners lost to the Panthers earlier this year. 10-9. Niners are favored by 2 points. The over-under on this game, man, you won't even believe what the over-under on this game is. 42 points. Last game they scored 19. Yeah, that's more than double.
Way out. I was going to say 14-7 Niners win.
14-7 Niners? Yeah. I'm just going to go flip the regular season score. 10-9 Niners. 10-9. All right.
I like that. I like it.
All right. And finally, San Diego, Denver at Denver. 1:40 in the afternoon Sunday. Denver's favored by 10. What do you think the over-under is? Just take a stab.
I can't even.
2 high-powered offenses.
I have no idea. This is going to be a crazy one.
That over-under is so crazy, it's not even showing up.
Well, if I had to put a score on it, I'm going to say 30-27.
30-27 Broncos, right? Man. I don't know. I mean, I like the Chargers.
Big field goal at the last second.
I like the Chargers, and, they just beat the Bengals 24-10. I like 24 on the winning side, but I'm going to go 24-21. Keep that field goal spread.
Yeah, it's the best. I think it's going to come down to a field goal in that game.
Yeah. And anyways, the over-under on that game was 54.5, so we're both going under on that. All right, guys. Well, that's what we got for this week. Scratch Hit Sports. Steve Langsam alongside Ryan Hilton.
What's up?
And we'll catch you later.